Alright, everyone, here is the freaking spoiler review of Goosebumps. So, like I said in the previous one, the intro theme was very good. It matches, but sadly, it wasn't the TV show one. And someone was funny too. It was like something I was kind of like, dude, that would have been funny as hell if they did it. It's the fact that they ended the movie with R.L. Stein just walking up to a hill and just did the freaking movie. That would have been cool. They did the freaking TV version of it. That would have been cool. He just walked up there and all of a sudden his case flies open. He's like, oh, dang it. Dun, 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 dun. That would have been cool. That would have been cool. But they didn't do it. Kind of sad. Anyways, the title, like I said, the title text, it matches Goosebumps because they put it in the shade of green. It was story setup was good because it was like same setup that Goosebumps books were. The fact of it was like you have this boy who's going to this brand new city, doesn't know anyone. The freaking neighbors are creepy. The mom is awkwardly hip, even though she doesn't really need to. He has an auntie, which that was good casting on the auntie part, who is quite weird, and it's kind of more up to date than anything. Yeah, it's more up to date than anything now. It really is. Like I said, the hat in the TV show, you know for the fact that the freaking blue hat that she bedazzled would actually be a freaking G Goosebumps one. Or heck, just for the heck of it, she could have just been like, yeah, they could have made something kind of funny on it. Like, for instance, she bedazzled a G on that freaking hat. That would be kind of cool. If she bedazzled a G on that hat and she could have just played it off saying, oh yeah, your name is Zach, huh? Huh, for some reason I thought it was Gary. That would have been cool. That would have been cool. That would have been a nice throw in. You know, that's what Goosebumps, the TV series, was known for. I know this is not the TV show. I know it's not the same people who made the TV show. But still, I'm just saying, if you wanted to give a shout out to the TV show, this would have been the best idea ever. The friend set up champion, yeah, that was Goosebumpsy. Yeah, it was Goosebumps like. The mom, awkwardly hip, yep, Goosebumps. My goodness. The neighbors, creepiness, Goosebumps. Makes sense. Okay, so at first I thought there was one released, or technically they were released before, and it looks like the Law Gnomes was the one that was released before, or at least it was alluded to, thanks to the freaking damn stupid trailer. Thank you, trailer. You screwed me over. Made me think that the Law Gnomes already came out before, and he just set up the bear traps to make sure that it wouldn't happen again. But of course, I guess also for bandits, I guess. I'm not sure. One thing I have to say is the Abominable Snowman wasn't the bad guy in the TV, not in the TV show, in the book itself. Sadly, the TV show never actually gave him an episode, but I think it would have actually been a good idea if you did. I would love to see the interpretation. But instead, like I said, the Abominable Snowman wasn't a bad guy. All that happened in the book was that the freaking explorer found the freaking Abominable Snowman. He said, hey, let's take it back to freaking California. And he took it back to California. He defrosted and, well, actually, no. First it was snowballs. Yeah, so in the freaking wherever they were, the main character brought snowballs home with him. And the snowballs actually froze crap. So it froze crap, and of course, the Abominable Snowman melted, and the Abominable Snowman actually helped save his sister who got frozen. So, as you can see, the Abominable Snowman wasn't actually the bad guy. Kind of shows that freaking Rob Letterman here just basically looked at the cover and said, those are the bad guys. Let's do it. It's like, yeah, it's like, geez. Like, man, you need to freaking find. That's kind of the worst part of it all. It's like, if you really need to do a Goosebumps movie and do it good, freaking find a dude that's a hardcore fan. Find lots of hardcore fans of Goosebumps, put them together, and ask them about the book and stuff. Ask them about the bad guy. Ask them about the good guy. Ask about things that you could put in a movie that's like, oh, that's a nod. But instead, you just took your own ideas, even though kind of diluted, kind of not really true. We'll get to that in a minute. So, faulty hook on the dummy book. So, Night in the Living Dummy. As you saw all in the freaking trailer, because hey, I don't really get to spoil many things because in the trailer it already spoils lots of stuff. So it turns out that all the monsters of Goosebumps are locked in a book. So it turns out Night of the Living Dummy, because well, my mom said, oh, it's because of the movie. But still, personally for me, it's like it's more the fact of after throwing it to the floor, apparently it breaks the freaking hook. Yeah, so the hook or the latch that was on the book, it sprung open and freed Slappy. Sure, sure. It's like sure. So Dad to the rescue. So the Abominable Snowman was released, and of course, man, that was kind of cool. I liked the part of where he caught the Abominable Snowman, and I was like, "Ooh, you're in trouble." Ooh, that's how it was, and I was like, I'm happy that it was that moment instead of being like, "Oh, it was in the trailer. I figured he did it. I figured he was the one who did it." It's like, yeah, but you would really know who was. I mean, it makes sense, but on the other hand, it's like still I was in amazement of what was going on. So awesome moment between Zach and R.L. Stein. Just the fact that in the freaking car, he was like, his book's pretty sucky. R.L. Stein's books is pretty sucky. I mean, I don't know which one's worse. The one about Monster Blood was like, oh, dude, don't you dare diss Monster Blood. Or there was another book he was talking about. And he stopped. And freaking R.L. Stein, yeah, he actually compared R.L. Stein and Stephen King. The fact that Stephen King, R.L. Stein wanted to be a wannabe Stephen King. And he's like, yeah, he just went all out on there. Just the fact that he sold more books than Stephen King did. Given the fact of Stephen King's audience, though, more adults buy his books, not kids. Kids, there's bunches of, so. Not only that, but freaking adults buy it too, so yeah. Stephen King, you're losing, buddy. One thing I was hoping is that he threw his phone, he threw Champ's phone in the freaking road. I was hoping he would actually back up and run it over and drive away. I would have loved that. That would have been awesome. But he didn't. R.L. Stein sucks at throwing, so apparently he can't throw with crap because he missed the two kids when they were coming back into the house. So we get the backstory of this R.L. Stein, the figurative one. So this R.L. Stein actually had no friends, and since he had no friends, he decided to create monsters that became like friends. And his imagination came so big, so powerful that they became real, and he had no choice but to lock them in a book. And one thing you know is that he actually used them to terrorize his neighbors and the jerks of the freaking school and crap. Which is kind of funny. I do have to admit it's kind of funny. It makes sense. But it kind of sounds like the blob that ate everything. The fact of his imagination was the key to making them monsters, which is exactly what happened in the blob that ate everything. Which it kind of does seem that they took a big, huge part of that blob that ate everything and applied it to this movie. Which is kind of cool that the final boss was actually the blob that ate everything. Yeah, kind of interesting that. Yeah, that was kind of amazing. But anyways, now to Slappy. Slappy, his voice freaking sucks. He was voiced by Jack Black, of course. The interesting part is that they actually made it so that Slappy is kind of like what happened with Electro. No, not what happened with Electro. In Amazing Spider-Man is exactly what happened with the Gentleman. The fact that they had lightning bolts showing up. Some Flash stuff. So what happened is that the lights turned off, the lights turned back on, and Slappy was in one place to another place. I don't know. Are you guys trying to say that you guys kind of suck at him actually walking and crap? Because I saw him walking and crap. But whatever, I guess that's kind of cool. Electro-powered Slappy, able to turn off the lights just because of his power. Amazing power he has. So Slappy's idea is to burn every single book they have of Goosebumps, or every book he stole, and release the monsters into the freaking world. The interesting part is that R.L. Stein actually had the idea of, Slappy Revenge, that is a good book. I think Slappy's Revenge actually was a book, wasn't it? And if not, I think I read about it. I think I read about Slappy's Revenge was something. I think Slappy's Revenge actually is a book. If not, it might have been one of the canceled books that I read about. But anyways, he's shooting books everywhere, making sure that lots of people getting terrorized by books. Now, I don't know. I'll get back to you on this because I need to find out where did they come from, because there's some where I'm like, I don't know where they come from. But anyways, first things first are the aliens. So the aliens with freezer ray guns. I have no idea which Goosebumps books they came from. I remember actually doing a rundown with a YouTuber who actually talked about all of them. I think it was the Book Nerd or something like that. But anyways, he did all 62 books of Goosebumps. And I don't remember any of them actually mentioning alien with a freeze ray gun. So I think this one actually is one of his narratives. So yeah, it comes to the point of which ones are Goosebumps and which ones are narratives, because it seems like they mix narratives in with Goosebumps as well, which is like messed the freak up. Truly messed the freak up. But anyways, next one's the typewriter. That actually is what they need to do it, because the typewriter was a part of the magic, which is another call out to the Blob that ate everything, because he, the main character in Blob ate everything, bought a typewriter that was actually amplified his imagination. As for the Invisible Boy, you guys saw the Invisible Boy in the freaking trailer. So the Invisible Boy, I don't know where he came from. Could be a narrative. Could came from Let's Get Invisible, or it could be the other one where, oh yeah, it was called The Ghost Next Door, or My Best Friend's a Ghost, or something like that, or My Best Friend's Invisible. One of those. It's the one with the freaking cat that's scared out of his freaking damn mind, and there's a pizza floating up. That one. And it also turned into a Goosebumps episode as well. So I don't know which one is this one. It could be just another narrative. Next is the Mantis. The Mantis came from Shocker Street. And you can see that Rob freaking Letterman didn't read this book because, well, I actually didn't read the book either. She didn't watch the episode. But still, the episode itself even didn't have a freaking damn mantis. So you would figure that even though the episode, I mean, if the freaking mantis was truly important in the freaking Goosebumps book, would you figure that the freaking episode would have the freaking mantis in there? It's just like, don't get scared, or I don't scare easily, or which, I forgot what name was the book, but the one with the sludge monster, the freaking swamp monster. It's kind of like saying that that book doesn't need the swamp monster. It's like, yeah, I mean, if it was a really important thing, they would have put the freaking mantis in the freaking damn TV show. But they didn't. So that means that the mantis doesn't even make sense. And besides, the real bad guys are actually the freaking robot kids. So that's the real messed up part about this one. Anyways, there's a nice segue from the mantis attack to going into the freaking grocery store. So it was the werewolf at Fever Swamp, but of course, there's two werewolf stories in Goosebumps. There's one where it's the freaking Fever Swamp, and there's the one called Werewolf Skin. So I didn't know which one it was, and during the time where I was like, oh, you need to know the Goosebumps monster's weaknesses, it's like, I know exactly what's the weakness for freaking wolf skin. I know that one. But anyways, and one thing I didn't really talk about is the fact of this werewolf, which I usually think werewolves as totally naked and furry as frick. This one has shorts and busted shoes. I never really talked about it until now, which that was kind of weird. Personally, for me, if I turn into a werewolf, I know for a fact I will be butt naked. Screw it, I'll be freaking them butt naked. maybe it's because they needed the shorts because they didn't want to show the messed up parts of a freaking werewolf. It's like, oh crap, you gone graphic on me? Well, thank goodness you kept those shorts. Now, the funny part of the freaking movie was the slob that the freaking werewolf gave. That was crazy. That was seriously crazy. Now, the real question here is, why did he have to say, yeah, it was basically because of the smell. He was like, the smelling of the, I don't even know. Are you trying to say that the werewolf at Fever Swamp has a powerful nose than the freaking werewolf skin werewolves? Is that what you're trying to say? Because it's like, it shouldn't matter if this is the freaking werewolf from Fever Swamp or it's the werewolf skin, because they're both the same crap. The only difference is that the werewolf skin, they shed their skin and then it's like they hide it someplace, and then the skin is alive and they cover themselves with it. That's all I need to say. So the auntie freaking ran over the werewolf right into the garbage, which sadly that's in the trailer. So I'm not spoiling anything there. So apparently it's her store, like Albertsons. She bedazzled her freaking sign, my gosh. Zombies, that's from Dead House. There's a massive big shocker on Hannah. I'm not going to say anything. That's a spoiler. Screw it. This is a spoiler. She actually turns out to be Ghost. From what I thought, it was first she was a ghost. The fact of, which would have been more compelling, is the fact that R.L. Stein's daughter died years ago. So instead, he decided to rewrite his daughter, write something scenario that actually brought his daughter back to life. And because of that book, she's back to life. So that's what I was hoping, but instead, no, she's not real. She actually isn't real. She actually wrote in his daughter and created his daughter, even though I think Hannah actually is a real person. I think R.L. Stein actually does have kids. I think so. If not, then the annotation will tell you different. Well, anyways, dumb idiots not allowed. So they made it right into the freaking high school. And yeah, this fat kid. The fat kid was like, oh man, the boogeyman's casting a shadow. And then after that, it's like, oh my gosh, there's a mantis throwing cars. And then he got attacked by the freaking mantis. So I'm like, the funny question is like, was he telling the truth about the boogeyman throwing crap? Or was he being freaking sarcastic and then he was still in a sarcastic mode when he was trying to tell him the truth? Which is very dumb in his part of being sarcastic at a time like this, even though he didn't really know, but screw it. One thing that really showed up before anything was the haunted car. I know Goosebumps, and haunted car wasn't a part of Goosebumps, so that was most likely a narrative of his they threw in. Can you guys stop throwing narratives in? I mean, narratives is not Goosebumps. Unless this one, yeah. The funny part is that what if the narratives actually are Goosebumps 2000? Because I don't know anything about those. So if those narratives, yeah. So if anyone actually has any idea where these freaking monsters came from, the Invisible Boy, the aliens with a freeze gun, the haunted car, the clown, the toy robots, the bugs. Where's the worm? Yeah, where's Go Eat Worms? Where's that? Where's the worms in that? I remember it's a big fat worm that shows up. Where the freak is that guy? Well, anyways, he's now a champ. Yeah, champ is now a champ now because he just bit a freaking werewolf and got the freaking crush that he. Well, we don't even know is a crush. All you know is just a girl that he says hi to, and she said chump to. She said chump to him. Next is vampire bat. Most likely, vampire bats came from vampire breath, I guess. The Mummy, there's like at least two narratives with the Mummy. Well, two books about the Mummy. This is not narrative. This is actually Goosebumps. I think it's most likely Don't Wake the Mummy than anything. And I thought, yeah, it's kind of funny. When we saw the bear traps, I kind of thought, oh crap, it's the Cuckoo Clock of Doom. Holy freak. The Cuckoo Clock of Doom. We got the swamp creature, which the swamp monster. That's from Don't Scare Me, or You Can't. That's it. It's You Can't Scare Me. That was the book. You got an African dude, villager. I don't know what you want to call him, but anyways, I think he actually came from Shrunken Head. How I got my Shrunken Head. I think chances are he came from that. We got the Calling All Creeps. He's wearing a hoodie. Definitely check out the behind the scenes stuff if you want to up close look at the creep guy and a few other things. Of course, we got Dr. Shriek. He's from the Piano Can Be Murder. There were so many other ones. Be careful what you wish for. She was there too. And there was many others, but of course, you know, I can't just freeze it and enhance and see how many monsters there are. So I don't even know if Say Cheese and Die was there. No sign of monster blood whatsoever. Yeah, there's like lots of them where I'm like, I don't see those. I don't see those. I saw the haunted mask. Apparently, she's wearing a Dorothy costume. I'm sorry, I just had to. Barking Ghost, of course, I already mentioned Barking Ghost. They choose the poodle instead of just being like a golden retriever. For some reason, I don't know why. My Harris Adventure, we don't see that character anywhere. So it's like so many. I don't even know exactly how many they're choosing. Did they choose the original Goosebumps, the 62? If so, then there's a few that didn't even show up. I'm like, what the heck? But of course, last but not least, is the blob that ate everything. So the blob that ate everything, well, he showed up last. And one thing I need to talk about is basically the fact that the books got all destroyed. They technically pulled a Jackie Chan Adventures. They technically did that. What happened in Jackie Chan Adventures, the last season, is the fact that you had Oni masks. And with all the Oni masks, they all got summoned, they all got all about. And the only way to do it, only way to actually get rid of the freaking Oni masks and the master of the Onis was actually getting the original mask that didn't work to the master of the Onis. And what they did is made sure it worked and actually got the Oni and sealed all the Onis in there, all the 9 masks, along with the master into that one mask. If you saw the movie, you understand what I'm talking about. The fact that they sealed all of the freaking monsters into one book. And the sacrifice that I kind of saw coming, but I was just joking on it. It's the fact I'm like, dude, you know what's going to happen? They're going to make the great sacrifice where they get all the monsters sealed in a book. And basically Hannah has to go too because, and it did happen. I'm like, oh, geez, I was just joking. But Hannah gets to come back. Yeah, Hannah gets to come back. We got a nice little cameo of R.L. Stine posing as Jack Black, actually. So they're technically playing each other's roles. And last but not least is the funny other thing I said. It's like, you know what would be funny? If not all the monsters actually showed up and got caught back into the book. And it did. Ladies and gentlemen, there could be a sequel of freaking Invisible Boy's Revenge. So, there you go. That is a big rundown of all that happened in Goosebumps. I skipped so many other things, but these are just one things that need to be known. Now, here's the problem before I go to the final result. The problem is this, is that let's just say they were supposed to check out all 62 videos, all 62 books of Goosebumps, right? So if that's true, then technically there should have been duplicates, quite a few duplicates. Like Say Cheese and Die had 2 books. The Haunted Mask had 1, and then they had another Haunted Mask, so that means technically there should be 2 of them there. Slappy, he did Night of the Living Dummy 1, 2, and 3, meaning that there should have been 3 Slappies, or basically the idea of 3 books sealed 1 Slappy, and he was so powerful that he actually had to seal them in 3 books. So it could be that, or it just could be the fact of there could have just been 3 versions of Slappy you saw. Anything else? Monster Blood. I wish we could have saw the hamster, but apparently still the freaking hamster in Monster Blood 2 won't show up. Instead, we'll have to wait, and we actually don't get to see it at all anymore. That was the only hope. Now it's still the same thing of going to the freaking Nutty Professor to the Clumps and seeing the freaking big freaking hamster there. Yay! You ruined an inciting moment that could have happened. What about the 40-foot tall person? That would have been cool to see. Evan is not a bad guy, but still, he would have been considered a monster anyways. Deep Trouble, we didn't see Deep Trouble. I didn't see anyone in that, but of course it could have been in the audience. So it's not sure exactly who would be in the audience or not, but I'm just saying when it comes to the books themselves, there's like bound to be a few duplicates, especially Slappy, of course. That's all I have to say. Is like there could be a few duplicates there, but they don't actually explain about the duplicates. All they just do is just, yeah, there's no explanation about the duplicate monsters or the continuation of the story. Of course, it could just be the idea of he put the same exact story. He put part 1, part 2, and part 3 into one book, period. Which that does make sense, I guess. That does make some sense. But anyways, what did you guys think about the movie? I think it was good. It's kind of sad that some of the characters that was in the TV show weren't really used as models. And not only that, but Horrorland wasn't even shown either. I'm like, oh, come on. Horrorland has like a bunch of freaking monsters that you could have just had as evil bad guys. What about freaking Attack of the Mutants? Yeah, where's Mask Mutant in this? Lots of stuff to freaking talk about. But it's still a good movie anyways. So definitely go check it out if you haven't. And if you haven't seen it and you're watching this, shame on you. As for the rest of you, tell me what you guys thought about the movie. And tell me which characters you wish to see that you didn't see or they didn't get the spotlight they deserved. But anyways, thank you for watching and have a great day and weekend.